The Hollywood writers' strike is now officially over. It's been a huge week for AI film news. Let's get to it. To kick things off, I want to tell you that our AI horror film competition is now officially open. You can visit Curious Refuge to get all of the details. Essentially, we've partnered with 11 Labs to provide cash prizes to the very best films. We're also giving away some really majestic prizes like this tortilla blanket, so you definitely want to submit your work. Submissions are due on October 22nd at 11 a.m. Pacific time. We can't wait to see all of the incredible work you are able to create. And I should also note that Runway's 48-hour film competition will start up on October 21st and run through October 23rd. They have a big cash prize and they're giving a ton of Runway credits to everyone who enters, so I definitely recommend registering for the event. The 2023 WGA Writers' Strike is officially over. Studios and writers were able to come together to create an agreement that gives writers a raise. Writers now get bonus residuals on streaming performance and minimum staffing requirements inside of the writing room. But you're probably here because you want to know how it relates to artificial intelligence. Let's get to it. The agreement says that writers can use artificial intelligence as long as the studio agrees to the writer using AI. Studio executives cannot use AI to write or rewrite a project and then give it to a writer to edit. But a writer can use AI to assist them in their work. Studios cannot force someone to use AI, so if they want to use a tried and true method of writing a script, they don't have to use the latest technology. The agreement also says that studios can't use WGA writers' materials to train their own language models. So essentially, if Disney comes out with Disney GPT, they would have to pay the writers and authors in order to train that model on their work. This is very different from ChatGPT, which is notorious for using writers' material to train its language algorithms. Studios must also tell the writers if they've been given material that has been written by artificial intelligence. Essentially, you can't trick writers into thinking that they've been given something created by a human when in fact it was written by an algorithm. And I'm pretty sure those humans would know because at this point, language models really are not fantastic for creating fully fledged scripts. The WGA also said they had the right to assert that any language model that has been trained on a writer's material is prohibited by law. Essentially, that means that they have the right to say that it's illegal, but that doesn't make it legally binding. So it's really just a stance that they are taking as an organization. However, I should note that SAG is still striking out here in Hollywood, and they have voted to strike against the video game industry. So while writers and other supporting staff can get back to work, productions still at this point are at a bit of a standstill. Even though the agreement with the WGA has been passed, it still opens a few conversation points about artificial intelligence that are still unresolved. For example, in the agreement, a writer can use artificial intelligence to write a script, but whenever they are getting credit for that script, they don't have to mention that it was created by artificial intelligence. However, if you think about it, our language algorithms were trained on other people's work. So in my mind, it would probably make sense for you to have to credit and say that you used ChatGPT or a language model whenever you were working on that project. It's very similar to the publishing industry whenever they credit the use of artificial intelligence in the forward section of a book. I think the same should be true for the film industry. I think at the very end of the credits, in the same way you see the technological logos of everything that was used to help with assisting the production of the film, I think you should just see a ChatGPT logo and any other AI tools that were used in that production. Sequoia Capital also released their 2023 report on generative AI. If you're not familiar with their 2022 report, essentially they created a graphic that outlines the adoption of AI tools in language processing, image, video, and video games. Essentially, it's been a roadmap to show us when certain milestones will be hit in the coming years, and essentially they predicted by about the 2030s, people will be able to type in a prompt, see an incredible film, and the nature in which we create art is completely going to change. However, their 2023 report addressed that previous timeline. And here's what they said. I'll read it for you word for word. Last year, we anticipated it would be nearly a decade before we had intern-level code generation, Hollywood-quality videos, or human-quality speech that didn't sound mechanical. But a quick listen to 11 Labs voices on TikTok or Runway's AI Film Festival makes it clear that the future has arrived at warp speed. Even 3D models, gaming, and music are becoming good quickly. Essentially, what they're saying is things are moving faster than they even anticipated. So the big question is, what is the actual timeline for innovation out here in Hollywood? And the team at Curious Refuge has actually put together a roadmap that showcases AI adoption over the next 3 years. We specifically get into innovation timelines, like for example, when will somebody be able to simply type in a prompt and see studio quality VFX at home? We've generated what we believe to be an accurate timeline, and we will be presenting it in Stockholm and in Copenhagen this next week. Shelby and I will be speaking at the Swedish Film Institute in Stockholm on October 2nd. Tickets are still available. We'd love to say hello to you at that event. And we'll also be speaking at the Picture This conference for the National School of Denmark in Copenhagen on October 4th. Again, there are tickets available to that event. We would love to see you there. There was also a really funny news article that came out of Amazon. Essentially, they said that their Amazon Alexa will now take your body language and gestures into consideration whenever it's generating voices for you. This is really funny because we actually put together a parody piece a few weeks ago about the Apple Eye, this fictitious Apple product that would spy on everything that you are doing and give recommendations based on your body language. We thought it was hilarious and dystopian at the time, but apparently it's today's news. TikTok has also come out and said that anybody that is trying to pass off a generative project as real, essentially trying to spread misinformation, must label their videos as such in TikTok. It's not optional, you have to do it now. If you create an artistic piece that's not trying to spread misinformation, I'm not entirely sure how you're supposed to interface with TikTok at this point. I'm sure they'll create some guidelines in the coming weeks. Registration for the October session of our AI filmmaking course is now open. The course starts on October 2nd, and we are updating the course with the latest AI innovations and information that you need to know. We figured out a few workflows that we cannot wait to share with you. Pikalabs also unveiled 2 new very interesting generative features inside of their tool. Let me show you how to use it. So the first is a text to video tool that essentially allows you to embed text inside of your generations. So whenever you are working inside of Pika, basically go to one of the Generate tabs. I've actually found that Generate 4 and Generate 6 tend to be the less crowded. If you're in Generate 1, you're gonna see a ton of content. So essentially you just go to one of the prompt channels here, you do /, and you can click on encrypt text. So now it's going to ask for the message. So because this is Halloween, I'm going to say boo. And for this prompt, we are going to say a scary scene of a doll looking at the camera. And you can click on this 2 more here to have more options. So they have different fonts that you can select from. I typically like using the modern one. And then you can also upload a reference image. Now, this reference image, it's going to change it quite a bit. It won't be as accurate as, uploading an image normally with Pika and then it just kind of generates from the first frame. But it will generally take the color and the composition and use it whenever it is crafting the image. So I'm going to upload this scary image of a scene that we got from Midjourney. We'll go ahead and click enter. All right, let's take a look at what we have. So we have just the creepiest doll, and you can see the words boo are kind of outlined inside of this scene. So they also released a new feature that allows you to essentially use an image as a reference. And that's important because basically you can embed kind of like secret subliminal messaging, or you could do match action scenes using the tool, which is really interesting. So what I'm gonna do is type in / and we'll click on encrypt image. So in our instance, I'm just going to use this Nike logo, drag and drop it directly into our frame. And because this is a horror theme, I'm going to stick with the horror vibes. A scary monster walks towards the camera. All right. And we're also going to upload a reference image. Again, the reference image will be your aspect ratio, so make sure that it is in the correct format and click enter. Okay, let's take a look at what we have. So you can see we have this kind of scary scene here of this monster walking to the camera. And the way in which it incorporated the Nike logo is like the fog is clearing, but the trees in the background kind of have that dark depth to it. And so you can see that the logo is in there. There was also a rumor circulating this last week that ChatGPT 5, which is rumored to be released late next year, would actually be borderline AGI, meaning that the artificial intelligence is basically as good as human cognition. Sam Altman shot that theory down, but the truth is ChatGPT 5 will be incredible compared to what we have now, which is already amazing. And so it's very interesting to see what that will look like when it's released. There were also a few notable updates from the big tech companies. Microsoft had an event where they unveiled Microsoft Copilot and essentially said that it's going to be active in Microsoft Word, PowerPoint, and the entire host of Microsoft apps. Essentially, it uses generative AI to assist you whenever you are working inside of those tools. They also said that DALL-E 3, which looks very interesting, will actually be integrated directly inside of Bing, and it will be free. So you'll be able to generate incredible images directly inside of Bing. Not to be outdone, Google also released a few AI innovations this last week. Notably, inside of YouTube, they've created a new app called YouTube Create that allows people to create AI videos for their backgrounds. There's mobile editing features, and they also do outline suggestions and topic suggestions for YouTube creators. So it's using AI to assist you with the process of putting a video together. And they also announced a collaboration with Aloud that will actually automatically dub videos in foreign languages. So no longer do you just have to rely on the transcription service converting it into a different language. It actually will convert the actual voice inside of the video. This obviously is going to have a huge impact in the way in which you distribute your work online. Audiences around the world will now be able to watch your content in their native language, which will dramatically open up the potential reach of your films. The team at Runway also released a brand new web series where essentially they have smart folks chatting about the future of AI and how it can integrate inside of your creative pipeline. They rented out an entire diner out here in Burbank and shot this beautiful film, so definitely go check that out. And now it's time for our AI Films of the Week. So I want to kick things off with this piece created by Eric Jacob. Essentially, it's a trailer for a sci-fi film that has basically aliens coming to Earth and then they, take over your body and replicate you. The curation and the actual storytelling in the shot reverse shots and with having some consistency in the visual aesthetic looks very, very interesting. They also have a lot of really dramatic camera movements that look really, really good. So fantastic work on that project, Eric. There was also this fun little viral project that was making the rounds this last week that was essentially Star Wars in 1923. The piece basically looks like it was shot a long time ago in this kind of vaudevillian style, and it just incorporates the Star Wars characters. It's really fun. Definitely recommend checking it out. Christian from The Visible Maker also put together a beautiful film called Divine Embrace, where he essentially has some editorial shots that have been compiled together. It's a really interesting use of AI technology, and his curation to get the shots that look highly cinematic was very inspiring. So fantastic work on that, Christian. It's wild because Christian actually put together the Great Gatsby piece that went viral earlier this year, and so it's cool to see him continually innovating in this space. I also came across an interesting piece this last week from Christopher that I started watching, and I found myself getting emotionally invested in the piece, and it was kind of having an interesting impact on me. And then I learned after the fact that the scripts and the voice and the visuals were all generated by artificial intelligence. And that was kind of a turning point for me, where I realized that AI actually does have the power to bring about human emotion from the work that it's creating. And for this week's student projects, I couldn't decide on which one I liked more, so it's kind of a tie. The first is this project from Ike that is essentially a cinematic pirate commercial, and it looks really good. He did a great job curating the shots. And then there's a twist at the end. I'm not gonna tell you what it is, but it is classic Ike. And our second student highlight comes from Lei Ata, who put together kind of a film that is in the style of Jigsaw, where you have to figure out if something was created by artificial intelligence or if it's real. And if you can't decide, then Jigsaw gets you. It's a fun film concept that hopefully can get you inspired for the AI horror competition. And our final piece of AI news comes from Veritone, which is actually using AI to help fight human trafficking. Essentially, they are using AI to create more efficient workflows, streamline processes, and analyze large data sets to help people get out of trafficking situations. Okay, so that's our AI film news of the week. Remember, we have a weekly newsletter where we send all of these updates directly to your inbox, but of course, you can always subscribe here to get the latest news and tutorials. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.